All right, everyone. This is the first installment, and hopefully, what will be a new series. As you can tell, this is, well, if for those that aren't familiar, this is Paradox Games Imperator Rome. And those of you who are familiar, you will see and figure out that one, I am not very good at this game. I have a lot of hours. I mean, I've watched a lot of guides and people on YouTube, and I will obviously, put their comments in or their channels in the description because everything I know from the game is from them. I'll link the videos as well. But essentially, the reason I'm doing this is because there are a lot of things in those guides that they might not necessarily go over, things that I was really confused about, things that I didn't learn until I had well over 100 hours on the game. All the rest of those things, hopefully, some stuff to help y'all out. Um, but yeah, so for those of you that are familiar, you can tell that I'm doing pretty decent right now. It's personally my best playthrough, so that probably tells you a lot if you're familiar with Imperator. But yeah, so this is we are in 14 CE. It's already, let's see, what's that? 41 years past the end of game. At that time, I had like right up here on Anatolia. I had none of the Levant, only the Delta, and I've had this land on Carthage for probably about 100 years now. It's been a while since I've attacked them because they are being guaranteed by Egypt, and Egypt is one of the major powers in the game currently, I believe. Still, I don't know. I just pretty much shut them off from the Mediterranean. They have one last little slip in right here. Um, but I am currently doing the Eastern Glory missions, and as you can tell, we are almost through it. The Pontic threat is probably going to have to wait because that would bring me into war with Armenia. And for anybody who's not familiar with this game, or not Armenia, bring me into war with Parthia. For anybody who's not familiar with this game, or those of you that are, you can tell the Parthians they're pretty big. That's not that wouldn't be an easy war, and I am high up on the war exhaustion and aggressive expansion. So, first things first, let's get into the reason for the video. Going over a couple things that I didn't think about until later on, or I didn't learn until later on. So, essentially, three things. Well, I say three because it's a manner of an expression, but a couple things to go over that really are just kind of the base of this game. It'll help you through all of it. And that is this. So first and foremost, we're going to start with nation overview because it's first up here. This is a breakdown of your nation if you don't know already. But the main thing is here, and this is really just like all you need to really pay attention to is your power base right here. This will tell you about your Civil War closeness, and then this little guy right here. So no risk of Civil War. So we're all good right now. Only 4.35%. That's just because probably somebody's mad they don't have a government job or something like that. But this is really the important part over here. You're going to want to go to administration and sub-tab onto provinces. This is how you manage your empire in short form. Essentially, you want everybody to be on automatic trade, and then governor policies that you're going to have to figure out pretty much for yourself. But all this does is you go in here and it'll change what they're going to try to do. It'll give you different bonuses or debuffs or anything like that, depending on what you're going for. Personally, the most OP are cultural assimilation and encourage trade, and then if they get unloyal, harsh treatment, of course, because we're Rome and they're our subjects. But going forward from that, this is, again, like I said, it's kind of how you manage your empire in short form. I like to keep all of my provinces on automatic trade, except for Latium, which is going to be our capital province, where Rome is at, which you can see right here. Where is that? Yep, Latium, automatic trade is disabled. Everybody else should be on, and looks like I have not turned these on since our last war. And at this point, I've have so many territories that governor policies don't really matter. We've done everything we've wanted to do with integrating cultures and assimilating people. And now we are really just trying to push that cultural integration on peoples that are not integrated cultures. So if we are going to, hold on, let's put our outliner away and our queued events because the screen's all fucked up. If we go over here to culture map mode, we can tell that a large portion, pretty much the entire Italic Peninsula, Sardinia, Corsia, Sicily, all Romanized. We're making good progress over here towards Hispania and southern Gaul. We made very good progress into Illyria and Macedonia and Greece. And then I realized that I needed to integrate, which for those of you who don't know, is you come over here and these are your integrated cultures. I needed to integrate the Macedonians because I needed to get the Greek Italo influence for military traditions. So, so first things first, like I said, it would be nation overview. That's going to be administration of your provinces. Again, like I said, that's kind of like the game managing your empire or republic, at least at this point in short form. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of turning into an empire. I think that, yes, although there are crazy buffs that are added, there are also a lot of stability problems that go along with that, succession problems. You get bad leaders essentially if you are not careful, and you get civil wars to start off with, which I'm not a big fan of. I like to keep things all nice and clean. I like to keep my aggressive expansion low. I kind of like to keep my stability high. I like to keep everybody happy and doing their own thing. Civil wars are not fun. They are a pain in the ass. Anybody that says in a guide that, oh, it's not a big deal, whatever, yada yada yada, yes, if you don't care about aggressive expansion and you're just going to steamroll everybody, whatever, cool. Have your civil wars. Me personally, fuck that. So, moving on from this, next we are going to have your government. So, as you can see, everybody is very happy right now, and they'll have different agendas down here. They're usually pretty bullshit, or they want you to declare war. Every now and then they'll push these agendas, and you'll have a decision pop up where you either have to choose against it or for it. I usually go with it. If you have the money to spend, why not? If not, you can piss them off. They can get down to like 30 approval. It does not matter. There will be some slight debuffs, but at the end, it's not really that big of a deal. Next, we have our offices. This is where you're going to manage all of your different offices. And again, these are going to give you different multipliers and buffs towards your different stats, whether it's military, research points, cultural simulation, omen power, all the different that stuff. Now, again, I know I probably should have said this to start with, but if you are watching this and you have never played this game, please stop. I am only going to confuse you. Go back, go watch a beginner's guide. They will teach you a lot easier way. I'm new to this. This is just kind of some of the things for the people that are kind of new to the game, have played a little bit, but they're still kind of confused on a lot of the major overarching stuff. So again, these are going to be your offices. You can manage putting people in office based upon their stats. If you have scorn families like I do right now, I've kind of stopped caring about that at this point. But moving on. Again, scorn families, they can be there for a while. It won't really affect you unless you leave it there for like a decade, which I don't recommend doing. Next, you're going to be moving on to laws. Now, these I don't necessarily mess with purely because they mess with your stability, and I have always been right around 60 stability on a good day and 40 on a bad, which a lot of these are going to take away 15, which is a pretty big chunk out of that. And when you get below 30, things get troublesome. These are all different laws you can enact. They have, again, different buffs, debuffs. You're going to get approval and lose approval from different parties. It's really based on what you want to do. The only laws that I highly recommend are senatorial endorsement for the political influence, tribal assembly for the minus of corruption. This is just if you get later in game and you have a lot of corrupt governors, and then Marian reforms. Now, Marian reforms typically takes an event chain to get to, but you can rush this with military techs. If you rush all the way down to cohorts, which is on the left side, all the way at the bottom, essentially, you will push for the Marian reforms quickly. Now, I did this. I've seen guides against it. You can do it later on. I like to rush it because I think having legions are better. You can choose the officers. They're typically more effective in combat. Some people don't care about using levies. It's all up to you, really. But Marian reforms, OP, tribal assembly, OP, senatorial endorsement, OP. All the rest of these down here, like you get into citizenship laws, religious laws, these can help with cultural assimilation if that's what you're going for, which at the moment I am, but I'm not really worried about it. Um, Election reforms, this is where you get into starting your empire. You have to research certain texts that allow you to do the Princeps Civitatis, that allows you to establish an emperor, or at first at least a dictatorship. But yeah, so the rest of these maritime laws, integration laws, land reforms, I honestly have never messed with these. And most of the videos and guides that I've watched, they hardly mess with them either. So yeah, that's your government. I know that might not be super simple, but it's really not that much. The problem with a lot of these games is for new players, they see all these different UI and tabs and stuff to manage, and they freak out because they think it's too much. It is not that hard. Trust me. Play the game, mess up, learn from your mistakes. It's going to happen. Moving on. Next, we've got our economy. This is probably the simplest tab. Here you've got your income. Here you've got your expenses. As you can see, we're running at about a 40 deficit. We do have our wages turned all the way up. That um, obviously is plus 50% for characters and governors, which is massive. That is huge. But we get that negative 0.10 corruption, which is great. Um, if you turn it back down, see, we'd be running at 105. But we want to keep the corruption down. Now, commerce, this is purely based upon if you're exporting or importing more. Currently, we are importing more. A lot of people don't want to trade with me because of my aggressive expansion, and I have been taking everybody over. So we want import value up because we are bringing stuff in and not sending stuff out. And taxes I like to keep in the middle purely because of the resource points debuff you get if you keep it on high. But in times of need, you can turn it up and it will help you out. I typically, when I'm at war, I set my wages down, taxes up, and then I'll have obviously my maintenances all the way in the middle for my army, fleet, and fort. And as you can tell, we don't have any tributes because we have assimilated them all. But typically, tributes I keep in the middle as well. This is really simple. Essentially, you just want to keep this above this. The more you grow it, the better. You do this through research, taking over different lands. Greece is very, very, very profitable. So is Egypt. So for y'all all that are right at the beginning of the game and you've just united the Italian peninsula, I would highly suggest going east. East is where the money's at. This is my first playthrough doing that, and I am very glad that I did. Sorry, needed some water there. But again, yeah, you want this above that. If this starts to get out of control, I'd highly suggest pausing the game, maybe going back, loading a save, or just taking away some of the stuff you're spending money on. You really shouldn't be spending money on a whole lot besides your army. Rome as a navy country, you can play it. I don't really invest in any of the military naval techs. I don't think it's a big deal. I have my fleet of, where are they? About 70 and 88 and 10, and I use those to ferry around troops to the different places. And that is about it I use that for. So moving on, we have religion again. This is a very important tab, but at the same time looks way more complicated than it is. Don't even worry about holy sites. I don't even mess with this. A lot of people don't. If you're playing multiplayer, it would make more sense because you want certain buffs and debuffs and different things. If you're playing single player, don't even worry about it. It's not a big deal at all. So you're going to have different ones. These are all the starting ones you get at the beginning of the game. I never really change them. Some people do. Some people think it helps out. I don't really care. I always keep them the same. So for the sake of ease, or whatever, I don't know. I'm lost of words. But for the ease of this, I obviously have Hellenic deity of war, Mars, Mercury, Hellenic deity of economy, Jupiter. This one helps with aggressive expansion and ruler popularity, and Hellenic deity of fertility. This one's great if you're at war. They all last 5 years when you choose them. Obviously, we have an insane omen buff right now, which is going to give us crazy advantages. These right here, you're going to start off with, I think it's one for everything but the Sanctuary of Roma. And again, this all you have to do to put freezes in there is right click, and you can remove the one that's already in there and right click again to place another one in there. I have all good ones in there, so I'm going to leave them in there for now. But yeah, this is essentially what you need. So if you're going to war and your discipline is low, you're losing battles, or you're facing a large opponent for the first time and you're scared, I would highly recommend just picking this one. It's going to give you a discipline buff. It's great. It's going to last for 5 years. If you're at war for more than 5 years, then I pity you, because that's a long time in game. Next is economy. Now, this one, as you can tell, is a plus 21% national commerce income, which I cannot overstate how crazy that is. That is obviously a fifth of your economy. And obviously, the higher that number is that you're earning, the larger plus that is going to be coming in. A little bit more on that marginal revenue side. Next is Jupiter. This one I have as aggressive expansion decay and monthly popularity gain. As you can tell, we have a lot of aggressive expansion right now because we have been constantly at war for the past about 100 years. So that's what that's for. And this one, Hellenic Deity of Fertility, I never really use this one. I've used it in past playthroughs where I've gotten low in manpower, but this playthrough I've assimilated so many people that I haven't had manpower problems at all. Next is going to be culture. Now, again, I showed you all this tab a little bit earlier when I was talking about the Macedonians for the Greek Italo influence for military traditions. But again, this one is essentially, it's kind of hard at first, but this is what you need to really focus on right here. Who's integrated? And to do that, to integrate people, you change their civic status by this. Everybody starts as a freeman besides the Romans. You can change them to citizens. They'll become an integrated culture. This will mean that'll they're going to make you more money, give you more troops for your armies, and they're going to be happier and be able to do things like vote and all the rest of that stuff. That's really the basis of it. It doesn't get any more complicated than that. You don't need to worry any more than that. I integrated the Punics and the Massilians at the start of the game because I needed the troops for my levies to deal with Carthage and Egypt. I also had the Sabaeans. They are long gone. I unintegrated them. A lot of people are against unintegrating them, but if you unintegrate a culture, like I could unintegrate the Massilians, they are so small now compared to the Romans, Punics, and Macedonians that it wouldn't really matter. The population unhappiness would give me a slight debuff in things like income and manpower for my levies and armies, but it's not really going to matter at the end of the day. They'll go down to zero culture happiness for a little bit, and then they'll start bouncing back up again. Anybody that says different, they're just trying to scare you. They're just too worried about it. Don't worry about it. If you integrate somebody beginning of the game and you get later on, you're like, damn, I have too many integrated cultures, which 4 is the max. Don't go any higher than 4. Please don't. Argument could be made for 5. I leave it at 4. Yeah, if you want to unintegrate them late game, not a big deal, especially if you have a strong enough army that it doesn't even matter if they revolt and you can put it down easily. That's culture for you. Next is going to be trade. Don't even worry about this. Like I said, set everything but Latium to automatic trade, and whenever you get trade requests, which I don't have any, you'll get new import routes. You go in, pick what you want. It'll give you certain buffs. Don't worry about this tab at all. I mean, if you're watching this video and you're like, what the hell is he talking about? Maybe I'm an idiot for not worrying about this tab, but I don't know. I'd never use it at all. Next is military. Now, this is probably what a lot of y'all have been waiting on or looking at the video for, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I'm going to try to break this down as simply as possible. I'm not going to go all the way down, but this is your levies. So these are essentially your pops. I believe it's your freeman and citizen pops that contribute to your levies. Now, as you can see, we have a massive amount of levies with 101 pops, 96 pops. Cisalpine Gaul is all of their pops are used up in their legion. but 91, 63. We have a lot. We have hundreds of thousands of troops if we summoned everybody. So how do you grow your pops? This was my number one problem. I searched for so long. I never got a straightforward answer. So here it is. This is the straightforward answer. You don't have to do anything else but this very simple method to grow your pops. Method number one, you integrate cultures like I showed you. You come over here and you change their rights from a freeman to a citizen. Now, again, unless you're taking over a very large culture, the Punics, the Macedonians, I wouldn't really do anything else like besides that. Maybe the Scythians if you get there late game. That would be the number one way to do it. You just come here, you change their civic right from freeman to citizen. It'll take about a year for that to go through, and then you should start seeing levy number increases in the areas that they live in. Now, that's how I used to do it. It is the child's way of doing it. The second method is, in my opinion, way simpler, takes way less time, and will not allow, you won't have to integrate as many cultures, and it gives you a lot more buffs. Like, you're going to make more money from it as well. And this is what you're going to do. So when you take over new lands, hold on, let me get off this real quick. When you take over new lands, so say, you start off, just at the beginning of the game and you unite the Italic Peninsula. What you are going to want to do when you assign governors for that region, so I'm going to say go to here, you're going to want to go to governor policy and pick cultural assimilation. Now, for that province, you're going to want to choose this map, territory rank mode, and make sure that there is a blue little section in that territory. Now, that means that there is a city in that territory. The more cities per province, the better, but one is fine for the sake of money and political influence. What you're going to want to do there, select it, go to the building slots, and build a grand theater and a great temple. Now, again, you might have to build things like aqueducts or forts if you're defending against a war, or you need more population capacity, which would be what the aqueduct for, or, say a place like Rome, you want to build a tax office because you need more money. That is okay too. But for the sake of putting pops into your armies, into your levies, you want to build a grand theater and a library. Now, these are going to take text to get to, and my advice to you is to research online or go through the tech tree and find out what tech you need to build these. Because, like I said, you want to click on a province, make sure it has a city, build a grand theater and a library, set the government policy to cultural assimilation. What that does is switches the local population to Roman culture, and that will automatically put more army or put more pops into your levies without having to assimilate cultures or integrate cultures. Yeah, that's what you're doing. You're culturally assimilating them instead of just integrating them. Integrating them comes with a lot of barriers, and it's only in certain areas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Assimilating, OP as hell. So just remember that. Click on a province, make sure it has a city, government policy, cultural assimilation, library, grand temple, or library and grand theater, whatever it is. It will work so well. I'm saying that in this way because I didn't know that until now, and I could only ever get slight, the Italic Peninsula and just little dots around the map Roman, and now, as you can tell, we are making great progress everywhere. So that is the first part of the military tech. That's how you increase your levy size. Now, as you take more places around the map, you'll get more levies because levies are based upon areas. So obviously we have like one for Italia, one for Magna Graecia, one for Cisalpine Gaul up here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Moving on to legions. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier when I said Marian reforms. Now, you will get the Legio Italia earlier on in the game when you first get the Marian reform event chain, or you push for it by just grinding military tech. My advice to you is to wait at least until about 170 BC, 200 BC, till you make your first legion. Use your levies, assimilate, replace governors with better military traits if need be. Don't do that, because I rushed it. I created a legion before I'm pretty sure I was supposed to, and then when it got later on in game, I could no longer pull them up on the legion tab. It's a glitch that's part of Imperator Rome. I don't know how to explain it to you other than you just can't change the commanders. They eventually go down to like a 1 marshal level, and they're awful. They have terrible supply, everything. It's such a pain in the ass. You have to disband like 30,000 troops that have 10 of these accommodations, which gives them buffs. I mean, it's awful. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful. So, but moving on from that. So when you're growing your levies, and as you can see here, I have 57 for Illyria, 27 for Serenicia. Okay, I'm butchering all these names. It's just how I think of them in my head. Roast me in the comments if you want. I don't care. If you want to create a new legion, I'll show you just for the sake of the video. You're going to come here, switch your commanders out. You're going to add however many you want to do. I will show you one that I do. I usually do 20 heavy infantry, 10 heavy cavalry, 10 light infantry, 5 supply train, and 5 engineer to start with. That'll give you 25K. I then add on with engineers, heavy infantry, and heavy cavalry, and that'll just eventually make it better and better. That's kind of my base legion. I just created Macedonia not too long ago, so you can tell they're still at 25. Your commanders are here. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can replace them if you want. The higher marshal level guys you want at the front, because that is the commander. And again, it's pretty straightforward. Like I said, you can grind military tech, which is going to be down here, to get you all the way down to cohorts, which is right here. Or you can wait for the Marian event chain, which will happen, I believe, after the first Carthaginian War and securing Sicily and Corsia and Sardinia. So so let's go to the third tab here, and this is going to be traditions. So you're going to start off with Roman and Italic tribe at the start. Now, it took me a little while to realize that I needed to integrate, not assimilate, like I said earlier, but integrate, go in and change that civic value for the Macedonians to get the Greek and Greek Polis traditions. So I went pretty hard on the Italic tribe traditions. It's not necessary to go this hard on the Italic tribe per se. Some people might argue against that. I really like this side at least, and loyalty of generals. I've never really gone down here. I don't think it's that necessary. All it does is kind of help with navy maintenance and forts. But Roman traditions, you want to grind all of these. These start with this until you can embrace Italo-Greek influence. And again, to do that, you need a Hellenic culture, so Macedonian, over 500 pops. And you can check that by right here in your culture tab. And once that's done, then you integrate them. Don't assimilate them. Go in and change that civic level, and you'll get this, embrace Italo-Greek influence, and then you can come down the Greek traditions, Greek kingdom traditions, which in my opinion is way, way better than Greek Polis. But, it does stuff like heavy infantry offense, heavy infantry morale, cohort starting experience. I mean, Greek kingdom traditions are kind of OP. All right, so that's it for military. It's pretty self-explanatory. You will get more traditions as you wage wars. When you disband levies, they'll give you experience. Your legions give you experience every month, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, that should be it for that. Next is mercenaries. I don't ever really use the mercenaries tab. If I need mercenaries in an area, I'll zoom in, find some on the map, hire them if I can. They will cost you an initial fee and then a monthly maintenance charge, just like your legions or levies would. They're usually really fucking expensive, so I would tell you to get the best bang for your buck. If you're going to go into debt for a little bit, make sure you got some money saved up. And as you can tell, we do. But yeah, that's really it for mercenaries. Next is diplomacy. I don't ever use this tab. Diplomacy is for the weak. We are Rome. We are civilization. We are power. We are the light of the world. Diplomacy is for the weak. Moving on to technology. Technology is pretty self explanatory. Personally, as Rome, like I said, like I will show you, I don't ever use the naval side. Don't waste your points over there. You're not really going to need it. Your Navy's your Navy. You have the best armies in the world. You will be fine. You're always going to want good researchers that are giving you good points. As you can tell, I have two bad ones. I think it's because I put people there because of scorned families. I need to change that out. Rome's military tech traditions are insane. They're OP. They're the best in the game by far. Maybe besides Macedonian, could be close, but you're just going to want to grind this. I always start off with as much discipline and starting experience as I can get at the beginning of the game. I don't touch anything else. I think you get maybe 7 or 8 research points at the beginning of the game. I can't remember. I'll spend, if you get 8, I'll spend 7 on military and 1 on civic. That's just because you want to, you know, we're trying to conquer everybody. I mean, unless you're going for a diplomatic playthrough, which I can't say I've ever done, but yeah, you want to do this. Siege ability is great. It's going to help you in the long run. I wish I had done it more. Blacksmith apprentices are great. Scythian saddles are awesome. Again, this is all going to help with discipline, and discipline is what makes your armies fight better. Civic's great. I'm not really going to go into all the different techs. It would take me hours to explain all of them and the different buffs that they have. There are a lot, as you can tell, we have researched a lot. My top ones are obviously military and civic. Oratory is something that I've started exploring more in recent playthroughs. Very good for aggressive expansion and diplomatic relations. Again, I don't give a shit about diplomatic relations. I want to conquer everybody. I don't care what they think of us. I'm going to assimilate them no matter what. So it doesn't matter. Rome is the best. Ave Roma. And then last would be religion. I don't really mess with religion much unless I need to, which again is going to be for omen power, unintegrated culture happiness. This is, if you just need to make some people happy, you want more buffs to your omens, etc., etc. Now, characters. This is kind of important in a sense where this screen will show you who's scorned, who's not, how many positions or that family has in government or in the military, et cetera, et cetera. As you can tell, we have 2 scorned families right now. We probably need to fix that here in a little bit. But again, I don't really use this screen much. This will pop up, this icon, and it'll take you automatically here when you click on it. Besides that, there's not really much to be said on this tab. Next is going to be the missions. I can't show you the full missions tab because I'm currently in the middle of one, but these are insanely OP. Do your missions. Start from the top when you're uniting Italia, all the rest of that stuff. Do your missions. When you can pick one of these, always pick the option that gives you the most pops. Because again, like I said, pops go into your armies. So it'll say you've taken over Greece. It'll say, do you want to make Athens, Corinth, Decalopolis, or something a city? And whichever one, which is going to be Athens, gives me the most pops, I'm going to make that one a city. Pick the best buffs. Missions are great. I didn't really know that my first couple playthroughs. I didn't even know what missions were. And then I started doing them, and it's all been good since then. So that goes through all of the tabs. Now, I know that was a lot. I'm not the best at explaining things. This is my first time doing a video like this, so please bear with me. And the only other things that I have to say are this. Rome is insanely OP in this game. I believe I'm playing on a normal difficulty. I don't think I have any buffs or anything like that added. There's no mods. I think I maybe have one DLC. Not 100% sure, but Rome is insanely OP. More often than not, you are going to win wars and you are going to be okay when it comes to government stability, everything like that. The name of the game is keeping your tyranny and your corruption down in your governors and characters. Whenever you have things like people who start seeing other people as rivals, or characters that are in government or in charge of legions or navies that are getting really disloyal, switch them out. It'll decrease the power base. It'll take care of the problem. Switch them out if you can. If you can't, bribe them, give them free hands, do whatever you can do to avoid civil wars and avoid revolts. Civil wars and revolts kill your time in game. They kill your resources. It's a pain in the ass to deal with. Trust me. So the name of the game, you just want to keep everybody happy and do that by pretty much any means necessary. Next, build roads. You're going to have to research text to do this, but I can show you in the Atlas map mode. I have got roads all throughout Rome. Everywhere that there is Rome, there is roads, because it will give you better trade routes. It'll allow your armies to move around faster, etc., etc. It is just better overall for you. Build your damn roads. Don't be lazy. It'll take so much longer for your troops to move around if there are no roads. Next, assimilate, don't integrate. Assimilate, don't integrate. I don't know how many times I wish I could tell myself that at the beginning of this, but only integrate for things like military traditions, or if you really, really need pops for your levies early game or something along those lines. And again, keep it to maybe 1 or 2. Don't go over 4. And that means including Romans. So don't integrate more than 3 cultures. Assimilate everybody. And remember, to do that, check the province that you just taken over. If it doesn't have a city, build a city, and I'll show you how to do that. You're going to click somewhere, click this little icon. This is what's going to be pop up. You probably don't, maybe you might not even know this. Click this, and you're going to found city. It's going to cost more than that. I have buffs or against it, against the cost. But find your cities, and then when you build your cities, you're going to want to build a grand theater and a great temple, and change that government policy to cultural assimilation. It is going to make your life a whole lot easier. And that right there is going to help you with provincial loyalty, economy, and army, which really is what this game is broken down into. Besides that, yes, you've got a little bit of diplomatic relations, a little bit of politics that goes on that you're going to have to deal with. There are going to be some unsavory event chains, characters, stuff like that you're really not going to want to have to deal with, but it's going to happen. And you're going to learn from your mistakes. Besides that, it's really not a whole lot else to cover. I will probably be going ahead and just recording the rest of this as a playthrough. I don't really think that there's that like an end date necessarily. I think we're only in 14 CE, so I think we have a long time to go before the game just shuts us out. We still have your Eastern Glory to finish, which means we're going to take over the rest of Armenia and a little bit more into Syria and Egypt. We're going to finish that mission, and then we are going to set our eyes on Carthage and Gaul. But for now, my name is Mac. This is just hopefully a quick little helpful video for people that have maybe played a little bit of Imperator, a lot of bit of Imperator, or none at all. Actually, if you is none at all, again, if you watch this whole video and you have never played this game before, I apologize. Hopefully I did a good enough job, but I would again go find a video from a pro, as they like to call them. I am just one of you. I am a fan that said, hey, I think there are a couple things I can contribute. So again, my name is Mac. Thank you for watching, and that'll be the end.